How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the PavPod. Today, I get to sit with my good friend and personal barber for years now, Sal, who I've been getting my haircut from him since I was 6 years old, and I'm still getting my haircut with him and his brother Claudio. The episode we get to talk about his journey as being a barber, what it was like being at a salon as well as a barbershop, how his brother is technically a better hairstylist and barber than he is, and he's okay with that. We also talk about what it's like to be a man, his wife, some choices and regrets. It's a good episode, and I have a special place in my heart for this guy. So sit back and enjoy. And if you guys like what I'm doing, please like, share, subscribe, whatever it takes. Whatever you can is always greatly appreciated by me. I do this for myself and for you guys, and so I hope you guys like it. So, Sal, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. You've been my barber for, I don't know how many years now, ever since I was a kid, I think, right?
Right. Oh, yeah, for sure. My pleasure, though.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I just want to ask you how you got into being a barber.
Well, to be honest with you, I never really wanted to be a barber growing up. It wasn't something that I ever aspired to be. I actually didn't want to be a barber.
No?
Well, because my dad was never home. Never came home like early. We never really saw him a lot. He was always working. So I didn't think it was like the best profession to take on. But as I grew up and got older and went to college and tried to find a job, it was pretty hard to get out there. And I would look at my dad and say, wow, look, this guy, supported a family doing this. Well, maybe I should try. So I went to school for it. And at first I thought I wanted to do women's hair. I didn't mean that, do women. But at first I thought I was going to do women's hair. But then when I started working with my dad, I found myself really comfortable working on guys' hair. And I really liked it. And I enjoy speaking to people and learning new things from them.
Yeah. Do you have any terrible client stories that you...
I don't know if I should be able to.
Okay, fair enough. So what made you drawn to cutting men's hair over women's hair? Like, what was the difference?
Well, women are difficult.
Okay.
They're difficult clients. Not all of them. I shouldn't say that. They're not all difficult, but a lot of them are difficult. And I found myself more comfortable talking with men. And, I like sports. I like guy things. You know what I mean? I could be myself. With women, I felt it was more like a facade. I wasn't being myself. You're just trying to pamper them and make them feel good. And what's the word when you, holy jeez. I was trying to compliment them all the time.
Okay.
Even if they need compliments, you just felt like you had to do that. With guys, I could be myself. You could walk in the barbershop. I could say whatever I want. And you know what? Most guys, if you screw up their hair, it's not the end of the world.
No?
No, it's not. No, some are. Yeah, the terrible customer thing. Yeah, that happens. It's true. But for the most part, most guys don't care. They're not, like, if you screw up once, they're not going to. Women, on the other hand, their hair is like a protective thing for them. Very personal, a personal thing for them. And if you mess it up, it really screws up with their emotions, their confidence, and everything, right? So, I mean, when I started working with my dad, it was actually easier too, because my dad, you're working with your family. So you can make mistakes and they're there to help you. There's nobody's going to push you down. And that's what drew me into it a lot.
Yeah, so when you say you started off with your dad, like, you were apprentice to him? And
no, I went to school for 1 year. And then after, I went to hairdressing school for a year. And then I worked at a salon for about a year. And then what happened was my dad had to go back to Italy because his mother-in-law wasn't feeling well. And he asked if I wanted to work at the barbershop. And I said, you know what? Okay, I'll try it out. And I went to go work with them. And to be honest with you, it's for any new barbers out there, you just got to stick with it. It's going to be slow. You got to give yourself a couple years. But that goes with any job or any life-changing thing. You need to give yourself time to settle into where you are and make people know you, especially in my personal service job. Once people get to know you, in the beginning they might see you and not come in, but after a while, they'll sit in your chair and they'll try you. And it's like any trade, any skill. The more you do it, the better you are at it. I wasn't the greatest barber when I started. I hated it. I was asking my brother to fix my cuts for me. But over time, you learn, you get better, and then that's it. You grow into your job. So I guess, like, back to what I was saying, it's good to just give it a shot, anything. because you never know what you might find.
Yeah, yeah. I was doing some research on you for the podcast, even though I know we're friends, and you got glowing reviews on Google, on your shop on Google reviews from everyone. Yeah, and a lot of it is not just, oh, he cuts great hair, but like I've known Sal, I've been with Claudio, like this is the shop.
Yeah.
That how long do you think it took you to get there, to that point where you had a solid base? Because I know you mentioned it's going to take you a while to get there, and for anyone who's starting off to not be discouraged. But is there a timeline that you think, that moment where you're like, I've settled in? You know how you feel comfortable with things like driving, where you just, oh wow, like I was so nervous months ago, but now I'm just going to the store for milk. Is there a moment?
I can't really. I could give you an answer, but it would be a fake answer
Okay.
because I owe a lot of it to my dad. My dad really laid the foundation for the barbershop and set us on the right path. So for me to take credit and say that I knew right away when I went to that shop, it was a busy shop already. My dad already had laid the groundwork with Sam, God rest his soul, but they worked together to build that shop, and we've just built on it from there. So I can't really take credit. I'd love to say, oh, I started from nothing, but I didn't. I walked into a bar, and that was probably like, I'm lucky. I'm lucky in that sense because I have new barbers come in sometimes, and it's tough for them too. I feel bad for them, but I try to do for them what was done for me, and that is, help them grow the business. But you got to want it too. It's not something that's going to just happen naturally. You know what I mean? Like if you don't go out there and get it, it's not going to happen. But I was always told from my dad, ask everybody if they want to sit in their chair. Don't worry, even if it's my customer and it's my customer, ask them. And I used to do that all the time. Even if you probably remember if you'd come in, even if you came in with your mom as a young kid, and I knew you liked my brother when you were younger, I'd still ask, do you want to be next? You know what I mean? Just because it's the cordial thing to do, right? And over time, the guy might say, yeah, you know what? Cut my hair. And I messed up a lot of hair. Don't get me wrong, I messed up tons of hair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like tons of hair I messed up. But it happens, right? Everybody makes mistakes, you know what I mean? Even in any trade, you're not going to be perfect right off the start, especially my trade, because it's not just a trade, it's also like an art. Like every head's different. It's not so clear cut and okay, yeah, like, as an electrician, as a trade, this wire has to go here and you got to plug it into there, and everything's wired the same. With mine, it's like, yeah, you could cut hair the same way, but every head's different. Everybody's face shape is different. Some people might have like a disturbance in their hair somewhere it's not flattering, and you got to work with that, right? So that's the other aspect of it that I like. But to go back to your question, it took probably about, for me to feel comfortable, I'd say 6-7 years.
Wow.
Where I felt, you know what, I'm good, I'm happy.
Okay.
Because sometimes I would do good haircuts for 2 days, and then I would like be terrible for a whole day. Like every haircut would be bad. And I'd have to ask my brother to help me. Like, can you fix this? Can you fix this? And it's a little discouraging, right? But these days, I mean, keep in mind, this is before YouTube. This is before people, like all this information that we have available to us. I didn't have any of that. It was just watching people and trying to learn. You know what I mean? And I thank my dad and my brother and the other older barbers that we had with me for giving me the foundation that I have to cut hair. Because without them, I don't know what I would have done back then. Now it's easy. Like I learned how to fade going on YouTube.
Really?
I had no idea how to fade a year ago. 5 years ago, I had no idea how to fade. I didn't know how to fade hair. I didn't know any of the tools that they were using because I just knew what I knew from working at the barbershop with my dad. And then you go on YouTube and you see they have these clippers with little levers that make it get longer and shorter. I had no idea those existed. Made everything easier. It's a game changing. And that's from watching videos. But you got to just put your time in. That's with anything though.
Yeah. Yeah. So 6 years, wow, that's a long time. And is your brother better at cutting hair than you'd say? Or
Yeah.
What makes you say that? What makes him better?
He's a perfectionist when it
Oh,
comes to hair.
okay.
Like, I'll go back to the story when we were young. We had sticker books.
Okay.
So I would get the sticker books, and we would both have a sticker book because we're 7 years apart. So you got to figure, if I was 6 and I had a sticker book, he was 13. Still liked sticker books, you know what I mean? I would open up my sticker books, and they used to have 4 stickers you had to line up. Mine were all I didn't care. I just put them on. He would sit there and like match it up perfect. So even though they're all rectangles, back then sometimes the borders were cut different. It was cut different. And he was better at lining it up. Even if the borders didn't line up, he would line up the picture. And I always look at that as like how like much of a perfectionist he was. And the other thing I could tell you, that any barber, anybody that watches him cut hair will come up to me while we were working together and say, your brother cuts great hair. And this is coming from professionals. And I'm not saying this to big up my brother or anything, but they would come up to me and say to me straight up, your brother can go work on Yorkville. He could charge $100 a haircut, and people would come back. And it's just the way he is. He's just that kind of person. At times we say simpatico, which he's like, just you wanna hug him. He's a nice guy. There's not a bad bone in his body. You know what I mean? And I think you can attest to that.
I can attest to that one.
Yeah, he's a good guy. You know what I mean?
Guy.
He's got his faults too. Don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean? Yeah. When it comes to cutting hair, when he makes the line, like everything, it's perfect. And what solidified it for me, I always thought that he was better than me. What solidified it for me was when other barbers, like old men, we had an old barber with us that was 84, 85 years old, would tell me, your brother cuts good hair. Or we'd go to another salon, and when we rented those chairs at Islington and Dixon, and the salon people in the back would be like, your brother cuts good hair. And it was like, if these people all are professionals and they're telling me this, it's got to be true. And not to say it, I cut good hair as well. I'm not going to say I don't cut good hair. I don't cut hair well, but it's the way he does it. He's just, even when he cuts my hair, I'm more like, okay, I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm more money. I want money. In and out. Get out. You know what I mean? Happy haircut, that's fine. You know what I mean? I take my time too. But my brother just, it's the little nuances that he does that just set him apart. And I'm telling you, I've told him he could go somewhere downtown and work and charge $100, and businessmen and executives would come to him and pay him. Because when people leave, usually the haircut's bang on. You know what I mean? It's just that sometimes it used to take a long time. And that's the problem, right? Some people don't want to waste an hour. You know what I mean? They want to be out of there in half an hour. But yeah, he's the better barber.
Yeah, I can attest to you and to everyone listening. Yeah, I can attest that he takes his time for sure.
Yeah.
There's times where it's scheduled for 20 minutes, and I know with you, when I book with you, it's quick.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I can ask, what I appreciate about you is, at least if I say like, hey, I'm really stressed about this, or I'm really thinking about this in this way, you can say, this is your face type, this is what I think. I know your hair for a long time, so we're going to take a little bit more time, but we're going to do it properly. So I know you can, but I appreciate you, and why I book with you sometimes is because I know it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas with Claudio, I love him. And there's times where he said, I'm working on something. And you could see it in his eyes that he's just so in the zone that, it's been times where it's like a 20-minute appointment.
Yeah, and it takes him a lot longer. It is like that. But the funny thing is that if I ask him, how'd you do that? He can't tell you how he cuts hair. Like there's no system. He just cuts hair. You know what I mean? Like he just cuts it. And if you tell him do the same thing as last time, he doesn't even know what he did. He doesn't know where to start.
Yeah.
But the end result always looks good. You know what I mean? Like he just has that thing about him. It's just the way a lot of people say I'm a little rough with the comb and stuff. And I even feel it on when he does my hair, it's so gentle. Like he's just got that touch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where did he pick that up from?
It's the way he's always been. Like it's just the way he is, my brother. He's very relaxed, calm. I'm a little more high strung, but my brother, he's a little more relaxed, more laid back. More like, careful, more what's the word? Like he's very, it's not perfectionist. I can't remember.
Precise?
Precise, yeah. Like he's very precise. But like he won't part hair. Like some things he does, just I can't understand how he does it. And then other things, it's like blow drying, he sucks. Like he's not a very good blow dryer for hair. You know what I mean? Okay. And then the other thing is like, lately, little kids been coming in, they want like a zigzag or they want a lightning bolt on the side. And I know he can do it, but he doesn't want to do it. He keeps on asking me to do it. And I don't know why, but it boggles my mind. I tell him all the time, I go, you could do this. He's like, I just don't know. He goes, I don't want to do it. Huh. And I'm like, okay. So he'll call me over. And it's funny because it's like full circle. When I started, I'd be calling him over. And now he's calling me over to do these things. So it's funny. But together we work well.
I was gonna say, do you think that your business is so popular because you have a balance with him in the sense that he's taking his time, he's thinking about the art form, let's say, and you're thinking about the business because kind of need a CFO, a CEO, and a
Yeah,
COO to
yeah, yeah.
do all that?
It's true. Yeah, yeah. I think it works well because
Outside of you
that.
guys being great guys,
Yeah,
obviously.
we're great guys, but it's also we grew up from a family where we were really in a loving family, so we don't really argue much. Like we get into arguments at the shop, but 90% of the time, it has nothing to do with the money side or the business side. Or like we'll argue about I want to move the desk, you know what I mean, and he'll be like, oh, why do you want to move the desk? And I'll be like, oh, I think it looks better there, and then it'll become like an argument where I don't think it's going to be a good idea, but it'll never be like an argument where we're gonna hold a grudge. And the next day we go to work, it's like it didn't happen. And we have fun. We laugh a little bit, right? I mean, the thing is, starting with him at such a young age, in my 20s and 30s, we kind of spent a lot of time together. And so it's like we see so much of each other at work that last year my mother said, how come you guys never get together? Right? She's like, you guys don't get together on the weekend. And I said to him, I see him every day, right?
You can swear,
Oh, I
don't worry.
can?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see him every fucking day. I don't
Yeah.
want to see him after work. You know, I don't want to see him again on the weekend. We spend like literally most of my days with him. You know what I mean? That's why we don't hang out after work. You know what I mean? Like we're done. We're like, okay, that's it. Like we need our space apart. And my mother was laughing because she started thinking about it. She understood, right? And it's just funny because we talk every day. We talk even on Saturday and Sunday. I call him every day, but it's tough sometimes because he's had his issues and I've had my issues and sometimes they intertwine in the business and you have to try to level it out somewhere where we still can perform the business without getting those personal issues involved, right? It's never easy, especially with family, but we try our best, right?
Yeah. Yeah, of course you try your best. Well, is that what you would say is like what makes it what it takes? Is that you have to try? You have to want to try
Oh
for
yeah,
family because
100%.
how many
It's not.
families have been
Yeah,
ruined, by
it's not easy working with family, but we like you said, we have our roles, and we try to stick with them, and we try to be fair and even, and we try to like work things out. Uh, it, it's tough at times, man. It is, but I look past it usually, right? I mean, and we started the business together when we weren't married, we were single. And then you have kids, you have families. There's a lot of things that get thrown into the mix, and sometimes you really gotta try to separate the personal stuff that comes along with it, even though it's hard, right? You have a wife, you have children, you have a family, and then you have this family. So like, you have to draw the line somewhere and say, okay, I got to keep this separate from that because if they start getting together, it's going to be a mess, right? And that's been challenging in itself.
how do you do that? How do you separate the two without it becoming like a personal thing that you look at from your brother, right? And say, well, I understand your issues, but my issues are here, and I understand your issues, but the business needs this. Like, how do you?
And that becomes the issue too. It's really tough because we try to. I try to like separate it in the sense that I want to focus on growing the business. And the problem that arises is that because it was given to us pretty much, it seems like we can do no wrong. And we don't take that next step. And I really want to take that next step and make it like, a barbershop. Whether I do it here or another barbershop, like this barbershop I love because it's like it's the OG. I would love to open up another barbershop where we have nothing to do with it there and I want to just manage it. Because I would manage it differently. Like, you know what I mean? It'd be very professional. Right now it's not professional, but I have a hard time transitioning to a professional barbershop because I have such strong, deep-rooted relationships with so many of my customers that it's hard for me to be so strict and oh, okay, we got to do this and that and sit down and put a care and then we do this and like be so like robotic with the cuts. And I feel like I know people. Like I feel like we're friends, and that's hard too, right? And that's what I mean. I think it kind of like blends in too much sometimes. I know I'm rambling, but
No, you're not rambling. No, it's good information because it's hard. Like you know, financially, that's the right move to do. Businesses always say expand and franchises and grow. And I remember talking to a Chris Hambone, another barber downtown. He is a town barber on
oh yeah, yes,
Dundas
yes.
and
I've
Ossington.
heard of the place. Yeah,
Nice guy, super nice guy. And his thing was he has a shop. It's great, cool. And he's opening a second one. And he was like, I want to make it like a coffee, but also a barber shop. And his dad is going to help run it because I think his dad retired. But he talked about the struggles of that, of like just your first business. It's like that joke of like your first million is the hardest, but then
Yeah.
after that it's easy once you know how to do it. It's hard. Like, do you find yourself holding back from jumping into it? Or
yes, very much so. And it's because I don't want to. I don't want to bleed into the next one. If I like my I have aspirations of opening up a very like chic, modern, like spa for men. I would love it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to work there. I want to work here because I like this place. I like the atmosphere. But I want to run the other place. I want to like train people. I want to be the manager of that place. Or like mold it into where I don't even, because I know if I go there, I'll become too personal with people. I'd rather it be its own entity. You know what I mean? But I want to get it off the ground. Like that's my ultimate goal in barbering, right? And not even work there. Because I enjoy this like mom and pop kind of barbershop feel that I have. I like it. I really enjoy it. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I'm not going to say that I want to do that because I don't like this, because I'd be lying. I like both, but I would hate to work at that place. You know what I mean? But I'd like to see it thrive as like a men's grooming place. You know, there's like nails done, eyebrows done, like have the whole shebang there and have like barbers that do just haircuts all day. And it's tough because everybody wants fades now. It's like such a different like shift in styles. Like everybody wants the same cut. And I keep on stressing to like the barbers that come in that want jobs, it's like that's all they know how to do is fade. They can't cut hair. They could like fade hair. When it comes to cutting the top, it's like they're lost.
really?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for them. It is. It's really tough.
What is the style right now? I know there's some jokes of guys with blowouts in the top and
Well,
the fade.
it's
Or
strange. Lately, a lot of mullets, man. I've been doing mullets. Mullets are coming
as
back.
a younger Gen Z guy, yeah, definitely all
Like
the
I see a lot of mullets.
people like mullets. Yeah,
Yeah,
Kids.
yeah. They're not even kids. And what I don't get now is the way the kids, like the young teenagers, the way they comb their hair. I have no idea. It's just they want it short, shaved, and then they want it all messy in front of their face. I don't get it. And it's all like from grade 7 to like 9, 10. That's how they want their hair. It's disgusting. It's ugly. I tell them.
Yeah.
I have asked a couple kids. I said, do girls tell you your hair looks good, or is it your friends? Like, or where are you getting this information that this looks good? Because it doesn't look good.
What do they say?
They have no answer. They laugh. Ha 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 ha. The kids are a little tuned out now.
Sure. I mean, I always thought of doing myself for this hairstyle. Like I call it the British hairstyle for whatever reason. But it's the fade on the side all the way back up. It's almost layered and pushed forward, and then it's cut like clean, like a line. I feel like a lot of the UK, like the English soccer
okay.
team,
Yeah,
have it where it's like layered and it's pushed forward. I'm doing a probably
I know what
job,
you're
but
talking about. I think I know what that's different.
but it's different. Okay.
No, these guys.
I think that looks clean personally.
That's nice.
but-
That's okay. Yeah, it's like I don't like the straight lines.
Sure.
I get it that it's style
They
and
want-
it's fashion.
yeah.
I understand that's cool. Me personally, I would never. I feel like it looks like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. But hey, you know what I mean. I don't judge. If somebody comes and says put a straight line, I'm doing a straight line.
Yeah.
No problem. But the way the kids are wearing it, they even want perms now. Yeah, I've had like
a perm.
I've had 3 or 4 phone calls.
And do you do perm?
Do you do perms? No, I don't do perms. I could do perms.
You could technically do perm.
I could technically do it. I haven't done it in so long. So, perms, roller sets, all this stuff, it's all dexterity built, right? Like you build up your dexterity, you learn how to do it, you become faster at it, and it's second nature. But I haven't done it for so long that if I had to do a perm on somebody, it would probably take me an hour just to set the rollers in their hair.
But with a fade or just a perm?
They just want the top permed in front of their face. They want to look like a sheepdog.
Oh my god.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I've never seen this many kids come in with this kind of hair, and they're all the same. They all want the same cut. And then they get older, and then they get wiser, right? Then then they're like, I don't like this anymore, and then they understand that it looks stupid.
So this is up to 12th grade, and then what's college?
I would say it's about 11, 10.
Okay.
No, most of those, like the older kids now, like the older people, I should call them kids, 20s. I'm 40. So when I say kids, I mean anybody 20 to 30 is a kid to me now.
Sure.
But they a lot of mullets, which is cool. I like that. That's cool. But it's not the mullets like the 80s mullet. It's a clean mullet. They just wanted it short on the sides, like little texture on top,
long
and then
on the back,
but not really long, just long, like just longer, fuller,
to be different
fuller,
from the,
fuller, which is cool. Like I like that style. That looks nice. Like I enjoy doing that kind of stuff, but I would say 90% of the people, they all want fades now.
So just a clean fade all the way up, and then the
0,
top.
1, and then they push to the side, which is
like
cool.
my hair, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Fair
You're
enough.
douchey. No,
Yeah, douchey, 100%.
No,
I mean,
you're not.
I've been through so many hairstyles, and I'm grateful my hair grows long, or grows fast,
You got
I should
nice
say.
hair, man. You got
I
beautiful
appreciate
hair.
that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. That's my mom and my dad. Although I have a lot of whites coming in.
That's okay. Wait till you have kids. You're going to get more.
That's what my mom says. But I feel like I've had so many hairstyles because I just enjoy trying them on and seeing what it's like. But I'm curious always to see what the generational haircuts are. Like back in the day, you said, was it the 80s or 70s was a mullet?
The 80s were mullets.
80s were mullets, okay. Yeah. I know 90s was like long rock hair, or 70s was hippie hair. Like, it's interesting to see the trends go. What is the worst trend in your opinion? The worst.
The worst thing we've ever went through, and I never cut hairs
Sure.
like that. My brother did a lot of them, was the blowout.
Oh yeah,
It was a terrible haircut.
you hated it. Yeah.
I never did them.
Sure.
If people came in, my brother at Michael Power at the time, he was known as the barber that does blowouts. So,
He went to Michael Power High
no,
School? Oh,
no, but at Michael Power, when we were working at Edenbridge there, he was known as the guy who does blowouts.
hilarious.
So we had everybody from the schools coming and get these blowouts from my brother, and they would line up and wait outside these kids for like all day.
When was this? What year? Or years?
2000. I'm gonna say it was early 2000s. Yeah, and you know what? It was a terrible haircut. I don't know, like it's the Pauly D blowout. That's it. It's just like shaved. But like Pauly D rocks it well. I get it.
But that's
like,
his
That's
image.
him. You know what I mean? It looks good. I like it. Like when I see him do his hair, I'm like, dude, this guy spends an hour on it. It's perfect, his hair. Yeah. Like I love it. No problem. But everybody wanted it. Everybody wanted to look like Pauly D at that time. And I hated the haircut. I never did it.
Wow.
I never would do it. I would tell people, yeah, wait for my brother.
That's crazy.
You want to blow it? Yeah, okay. He'll do it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, that was pretty bad. And I mean, one of the worst times, according to my dad, was the 60s and 70s because everybody grew their hair long, and it was terrible for barbers.
Yeah, financially, right?
Oh my God, it was very terrible. They hated the Beatles. They hated the barbers hated the Beatles because they all grew their hair long, and then everybody wanted to look like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. They all had long hair, and when I remember being a little kid going to my dad's first barbershop, he would have haircut, and then underneath it with long hair, and it was like $3 or $4 more to cut somebody with long hair because he knew that he wouldn't see them all the time.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was fair. I mean, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was at the time I used to say, short hair, long hair. I was like, what's that mean?
Yeah.
And now looking back, I understand, but it was a terrible time for barbers. A lot of barbers quit during that time. And strangely enough, a lot of them became custodians.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they had some in somewhere. A lot of them came. My dad almost became a custodian.
What? What was the end?
Well, because it's job security, it's stability, you have benefits, right? Being a barber, I don't have benefits. Like I'm grateful that I married my wife who's a teacher, and
Spousal benefit.
it helps me a little bit in that sense, right? In that regard. But my dad at that time, my mother was probably not working because she had kids. Benefits weren't really a thing at that time. So he was going to go become a custodian at Humber College.
Oh, wow. I went there.
Yeah, and he went there, and the lady that was hiring didn't hire him, not because he wasn't qualified, because you've met my dad, and I respect him, and I talk about him
Love
a lot.
that man.
But she said, you're not going to last here. She knew that he wouldn't not that he wouldn't like it, but he wouldn't be able to work under people.
Yeah.
Right? And she said, you're overqualified.
Yeah.
Which is, a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
Because it's true. He wouldn't have liked it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Knowing not the little, but enough that I know about your dad, definitely wouldn't work.
Yeah.
He'd either he'd be the head of something.
That's right. Yeah. He would, but he would do a great job, right?
Yeah, of course.
But he wouldn't be able to be under somebody seniority wise. It
Yeah.
would bother, but it probably wouldn't have bothered him. But I mean, it would bother other people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a good trait to have, is that he kind of clearly knows what he's good at and what people see in him that he's good at. You mentioned that about the hard times. I'm sure you've had hard times as a business owner with haircuts. I think of COVID and stuff, like, and moving
yeah.
away. How did you get through that? What was there a guiding light, a moment, a memory, something that got you through
You know,
it?
it was tough for everybody. That was something that nobody saw coming. It was terrible. It was a terrible time in our history that we'll remember forever. But what got me through it was my children and my family, man. I spent a lot of time with my kids that I don't think I'd ever spend with them. So when I look back at those 2 years during COVID, I don't look back at them and resent anything and hate it. Or yeah, was it not the ideal situation? Yeah, no, it wasn't ideal. Was it the best situation? No, but being home with my kids for that long period of time, I really connected with them. And my family dynamic, my wife being a teacher, her having to teach online, and me being home actually worked wonders for us. It was a stress-free environment. I'm there watching the kids. She's working. It was like the perfect storm. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't have to worry about the kids because, like, I would see other kids online where their parents were working, and it was terrible for them. The kids could do whatever they want, man. They would shut off their camera. They'd play video games. You could tell what was going on. Yeah, and I was there, like, you know, on my kids' ass all the time. Like, hey, oh, pay attention. Turn your microphone on. You know what I mean?
Hilarious.
So they didn't have a free ride. But the things we did during those months, the memories I made with them will last forever. Every Friday, I took them out somewhere to eat. Not that we went to a restaurant, everything was closed, but we'd order food. I'd order Five Guys. Today we're having pizza, and they looked forward to Friday. And I would cook them lunch every day. And I would, what do you guys want for lunch? You know what I mean? And I connected with them. I bonded with them. You know what I mean? And I guess now they can't tell. But I'm sure when they get older, they'll look back and say, man, I remember those 2 years with my dad and how much he did for me. Like, when they have kids, I'm sure they'll look back on it. Like, we did things outside that I never thought I would be able to do with them. Like, we built snow tunnels in the snow and built forts, you know what I mean, at lunch. And then just to see their face, they'd get back from lunch and go back online. And they'd say, miss, you know what I just did? I just built a fort with my dad and we built tunnels. And I'm like, look at that, eh? And I even got to know the teachers really well. Like, it's funny. All the teachers brought me presents at the end of the year. Because thank you, Mr. Miceli. You were the best parent. You know what I mean? Like, you were amazing to have. Like, it was nice. It really, when I look back at it, I almost feel like crying. I get emotional. Because listen, if I could stay at home with my kids for the rest of my life and get paid, you know, the government they weren't doing anything. I mean, let's not look at any other crap about it, but let's just look at the fundamentals. They allowed me to stay home and take care of my kids. I didn't like it. It wasn't the best thing. I like to go back to work, but for the time and what was going on, it was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
No, for sure. I'm a big believer in, like, children, like, are the future. Like, I hate that school is hard. I hate that French isn't really cared about. I feel like teachers aren't, like, my mom's a teacher, right?
Yeah.
High school teacher, has been a teacher for years. And she's I'm lucky enough to go to my mom's high schools as a student and hear from other kids who were tough kids say, wow, your mom's the best.
Yeah. Right?
And because she cares. And I feel like it's the most important thing. It's the future. The person that is homeless or robs you or makes an accident or whatever goes wrong I believe it starts from childhood, right? And so when we don't care about the teachers, when we don't support families and
100%,
kids, you're just prolonging the problem. So maybe it costs you $1,000 a month to stay with the kids. So the government's like, well, we're losing 1,000. People are going to say my taxes are going to that. But in the end, if they're a good person in society and adding to the economy, like, what's the $1,000 worth in 25 years time? Or any of those problems, I think you can solve by having good support systems at home and teachers.
Oh, for sure.
The rest,
you know, that and accountability, right? And a bunch of things. Like, a lot of things these days aren't instilled in children. They're not. We've gone astray from making kids being held accountable and making kids lose and making them show what it is to like, not be first, and it's tough for them. They're going to be very disappointed in life as they get older when they find out that Yeah, you fail sometimes, you lose. Yeah, you don't always win. It's not easy. I was a great student, but I failed tests before. I've gotten zeros. I've not understood things, but I've always had the proper channels to look for help for. You know what I mean?
Like
And
what your family or what was
family,
that?
teachers, no, my family. Like growing up in an Italian household, when I had homework, these kids these days, they have everything at their fingertips. It's totally different. I had nobody to ask, can you help me? Can you help me with this? My mother didn't even speak English. My dad was at work all day. And when my dad would add numbers, he'd add left to right. I am like, what are you doing? How do you do that? Well, how'd you get that number?
Yeah.
I wouldn't get it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't like how you do that, but that's how he learned, right? And I learned differently. And, it's it all starts at home, and it starts at home and it trickles down. And if you bring your kids up right and teach them that anything's possible, but at the same token, teach them that they have to work to get what they want, then it makes it easy. It's like we've come so far that everybody goes to university now. Everybody's an engineer. There's no like other things that people want to be. It's just like you professionals. Everybody goes to university, gets a degree, and then they're doing nothing. I'm serious. Like and I'm not trying to say that it's not justified, but it's the truth, right? A lot of kids, sometimes we need tailors. We need these small little minuscule jobs that nobody wants to do, like electricians and plumbers
Specialized
and
skills,
stuff.
right?
Yeah, like nobody wants to do those things anymore, because when I grew up, you had to go to grade 13. You had to do ACs if you wanted to go to university. A lot of people didn't want to do that extra year. They wanted to go to college, or they wanted to go work, and a lot of people did that, and they're successful now. It's not like they're not successful, and you could always go back. But like even my kids, you ask them, what do you want to be? And I want to be an engineer, and I want to be a YouTuber. And I'm like, that's what I hear, like YouTuber. How do you go from engineer to YouTuber? Like, what's poisoning their brain? Engineer's fine, but then when you hear YouTuber in the same breath, you're like, okay.
I'll tell you. So I work for Logitech currently, and we've done a big study where we paid for this, and 95% of young kids today want to be on social media and getting paid for it because they see it as I get paid to either prank my friends or unbox products or do whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the problem is who's going to be doing, like you said, the tailoring, the plumbing, the hair cutting, even the lawyer or the engineer or the professionals, if everyone wants to do that. And kind of the point of this is to show that you can be happy and be successful in not doing just YouTube and just doing those things, and that there's other avenues there. But it is crazy that society now, as kids, they want to do that. I think we're kind of setting them up for a little bit of
Disappointment.
yeah, I was gonna say.
I agree, and this is the thing. How do I say to my kids now? I try to tell them so many times, but then they go on TV and all they watch are these YouTubers, and I have nothing against them.
Nothing's wrong with what they're
Nothing's
doing.
wrong. Like I don't hate the guys, but I look at some of them. I'm like, this guy's like, this is. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I understand informative stuff. I understand, watching. There's a guy that does squirrel things. I don't know. I don't forget his name, but I've watched him a few times. This guy's amazing. He builds like a squirrel. He'll show how squirrels are so athletic and agile, and he'll put like nuts at one end and build all these things, and he'll see the squirrel go like day after day trying to get to the nuts and fall at every place. But the next time, he'll get it right. Like he'll know not to do that, right? And I watch that and think, it's amazing. This guy deserves all the money in the world but then I watch some guy like my son watches, and I'm like, what's this guy doing? So dumb. It's just dumb. And he's filthy rich, right? So of course they want to be a YouTuber, right? I want to be a YouTuber.
Like video games,
but
and
I
get
know it's
paid?
unreasonable. Like it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to, I could try, but the chance of me taking off is very, very minute. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. What would you? What are you gonna tell your kids when if that happens? Say they want to be a YouTuber. And
Hey, they could try, man. I'm not going to tell them not to try. Try. They'll learn soon enough. It's not going to make them money.
yeah.
It's a coming of age thing, I guess. They're going to learn through hard work. They're going to make money. They're going to learn that, okay, yeah, you want to try being a YouTuber? Here. You're 15? Here. Here's a phone. Go. Take videos. See if it works for you. Did you make any money yet? No. Any money yet? No. Any money? Okay, now time to go get a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want money, you're going to have to go to work. And you know what? You want to do this on the side? Sure, go ahead, right? But then you mix other things into it. They're gonna have a social life. They're gonna want to go out. It's gonna wane away. Like I seen my nieces and nephews do the same, right? But I mean, now it's so overwhelming at such a young age. And I don't know if it's how these YouTubers talk or what they do, but it captivates the young kids. And I could be sitting there and they don't even watch cable, my kids. It's just YouTube right now, to the point where I stop it. I'm like, no more. That's enough, man. Like, what are we watching? This guy does nothing. He's doing nothing. They do nothing. It's like, just like, there's no substance to it. Like, I get it when they're watching somebody play a game. I can understand that. But when there's like just people doing nothing, like they're dropping a balloon from the fourth floor of a, who cares?
You know what's crazy? Someone has said that, I can't remember where, I probably saw it on YouTube, was that, yeah, there's something about the human brain that wants to watch other people do things, almost like a monkey see, monkey do.
You're probably right.
Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's not like we used to, and I thought about this, it's not like we used to, if I was dropping a balloon from the top of a 5-story building, I'd watch that YouTube and just see what happens. Okay, my caveman brain goes, let's see the balloon splat.
Yeah.
But I think back in maybe your time, and my grandmothers and my dads and such would be, I want to go do that. Let's go do that as friends.
100%. That's right. Yeah.
Right? And so you still have that same caveman, let's see the explosion.
Yeah.
But you're doing it because no one else thought. But so I think your kids are watching and be like, oh, cool. I don't have to go and do the effort to do that. I can just watch someone do that, which I don't know what
I never looked at it that way, but that makes sense.
Right?
It does, yeah.
I don't know what the result is.
But this is what I need. I need somebody to put it in perspective for me, because I have no idea, right? You're exactly, you hit it bang on. If I wanted to see what a balloon did from 4 stories up, I'd go fill up a water balloon, I'd go on top of my house and I'd drop it. Yeah, let's see what happens, right? That's what I would do. You know what I mean? But they could see that.
Yeah, it's something weird about that. I guess that's why your kids are doing that, because like I watch tons of YouTube, and a lot of it's informative stuff on, let's say, like there's this new technology on how they're going to bend metal with these 2 rods and such.
I like that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's a very famous YouTuber. I forget his name. Smarter Every Day, great guy. But I watched that. It's 28 minutes, and I watched them meet this company, explain all that stuff. But then there's times where I find myself watching the same thing of like some random compilation of people falling off their bikes. You know what I mean? There's something crazy about.
You know my hidden pleasure, man?
What is it?
Reddit comments.
Those
I get lost in Reddit comments.
Those are
like
great.
I'll scroll for like 20 minutes. I've shunned away from Twitter, Instagram. That like I like Reddit now. I don't know what happened, but I enjoy Reddit. I guess because I can pick and choose what I want to show up on my feed. They still have ads promoted, but it's not as prevalent as like Instagram or Facebook. I've never been on Facebook, mind you, or anything else. But I'll go on Reddit, man, and I'll just sit and read comments for hours, and I just sit there and I piss my pants laughing.
Yeah, I love Reddit because you can get the streams to a UFC fight or a soccer game.
Yeah.
Information on how to do a DIY project,
Yeah.
or the funniest cat videos, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
videos
you want. Yeah, all in one spot.
And you can I remember there's a Reddit sub thread that I forget the name of, but you can find some language that you don't know on a shirt, and you can't type it out. You can whatever. You post a photo, they will translate it for you.
Yeah. Oh
and,
yeah.
and there will be some
The bots are
Uzbekistani guy
Yeah,
who's like, this is my language, and he writes it out. He's like, this is exactly what it means, and here's the context of why. Whatever. And within the day or two.
Oh, yeah.
And then all they want is an upvote, a point, you know?
That's it, yeah.
It's crazy to me, and I appreciate Reddit, but it's crazy to me.
I love Reddit.
Yeah.
Like it's my hidden thing. I'm on Reddit all the time. I love it. I just love it. I love it so much. I love like the stupid Reddits. Like it makes me laugh. There's funny things. Like win stupid prizes is one of my favorites. Oh my God, it's so funny. You just see karma hit people back. It's like, oh my God, it's so funny. And another one that I always watch is Damn, That's Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's really good. Like really good Reddits like that. And I'll show my wife and I'm like, look at this. It's so funny. It's so nice. It's so, and then dad jokes is another one. Oh my God, I piss myself laughing.
I love the explain to me like I'm 5.
Is that a Reddit?
There's a Reddit.
I'm gonna
Quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Some guy goes, explain to me like I'm 5. And there's a guy who goes and explains everything for you like you're a 5-year-old. Like, here's what happens with and why we think and like all this stuff. And you're like, oh, I fully grasp.
That's what I like about it, because sometimes there'll be something on Reddit and then somebody will come on who Who knows? It might not even be a professional, but he fucking sounds professional.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably the problem. Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, okay.
This guy knows his shit.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, it could be anybody. You know what I mean?
100%.
He could have made everything up.
100%.
But I'm like, oh, and then if you regurgitate that, if you regurgitate that to somebody who actually knows and you're wrong, you're gonna sound like an idiot. And it's happened to me a couple of times, right? You're like,
Really?
oh, did you hear about this? And they're like, no, that's not as fucking Reddit, right? It got me again. But it's funny. I even like sometimes on Reddit, I'll go into like a rabbit hole trying to figure out what some people will leave like one word comments and everybody will be laughing after. And I have no idea why they're laughing. So now I got to figure out what this means. You know what I mean?
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah. It's amazing.
That's so funny.
That's how I kill my time.
Yeah, when you're at the shop and there's no one there.
Yeah. Well, even at home, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's face it, we get home, everybody.
Yeah, you need to.
I gotta stop this though. Like I'm on the verge of just saying, okay, it's 7:00, put my phone away, and that's it for the night.
Yeah.
I try to like detox, not only for me, but also so my kids see this.
Yeah.
Lately, I haven't been like I used to wake up in the morning, go straight to my phone, and be on it. And then this year, I hit a spot where I had to give my son a phone, and then it put things into perspective for me. Because I don't want him to see me doing stuff that I don't want him doing. So now when I wake up in the morning, I don't grab my phone anymore. Like I try to stay away until I leave to go to work. Because if he sees me every morning waking up looking at it, he's going to do the same thing. And what am I going to say to him? No, don't.
Because when he's smart enough and old enough, he's going to say, well, you do that,
Well,
Dad.
you do it. Yeah, hey, they're smart. Kids these days are totally smart. Way smarter than we were ever. But I think they're smarter because we give them the ability to talk back. And where my family, when I grew up, I couldn't talk back to my dad. I couldn't say something, well, you do it. My dad would honestly backhand me if I said that to him. You know what I mean? It wouldn't even, like, he wouldn't have flinched. Like I had that kind of, there was that respect level where you didn't talk back. Now they have more, which is fine because they need to, be confident and be able to speak their mind. But even as a parent, when you grow up in a family with an iron fist and you can't do those same things, you tend to turn to other methods, raising your voice, and it doesn't work. And that's why, thank God my wife's around, because she has those tools. Being a teacher, they know what to say, they know how to diffuse, and she helps me diffuse sometimes as well, which is like really nice to have around, because I'm sometimes I'm a hot head.
Yeah.
Like when I have something in my head that I want to do, like I'll like do it. I won't care. And it's good to have her like, bring me back down and say, don't relax, breathe. You know what I mean? Take it easy. And it helps a lot, right? Because sometimes you don't know what you might say to a kid that might change him. Like, it starts at home, right? If you keep on drilling into a kid, sooner or later, when he gets old, he's going to resent you.
Yeah, that's something my dad used to say a lot, was that, and my dad wasn't perfect, nor was my mom, but
Nobody is.
Nobody is, for sure. But my dad always said it's better, you have to be around. I'd rather you hate me and me be around than you hate me and me leave, or something like that. Basically, he's like, always be around your kid and always be there to kind of talk. And even if you're disciplining them, like...
My wife's great at that, buddy. God bless her. She really knows how to keep them close to her. And that's great, because I'm more of their friend, funny, let's hang out, let's joke around with dad. And mom is too, but they could confide in mom, which is nice. Like they have more of a personal relationship with them where they could tell her things. And I don't tread on that. I like that. You know what I mean? That's good, because I'd rather her know than like nobody know. Yeah. And then keep it inside, right?
That's scary. That's where the...
Yeah, because it's a dangerous world out there, man, for these kids, right? They take things home with them. They have these devices that follow them everywhere. And if somebody wants to be mean to them, they could be mean to them 24 hours a day. And I mean, I never experienced that. But I know that when I went to school and you had an issue with somebody, even if you got into a fight or something, when you went home, that was gone till the next morning. And maybe you get those butterflies on the way to school because something happened, but then things would be okay after a while. Now it seems like people could like really, they could eat at you, and it's terrible for kids to have that kind of feeling that nobody likes them, And that's what we try to instill in our kids. Like, if you see somebody who's quiet or alone, go talk to them. Say, hey, if it's a new student, make them feel comfortable. You know what I mean? Because everybody should have friends. You know what I'm saying? It's not nice.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, especially like when I see, like, and I was probably a victim of it too. Not a victim, but maybe I was like the same way, where I would stick with groups. But at the end of the day, everybody should be together and have fun.
Well, societally, everyone deserves respect until otherwise, right? Like the innocent
Yeah,
until
yeah,
proven guilty. You're not
exactly.
gonna go punch a guy on the street just because he's walking there.
Yeah.
You're gonna respect him as much as he respects you, and unless he does something horrible, then yeah. So
Yeah,
same
no,
thing with kids is
100%.
like
Yeah.
be friendly with that. What do you mentioned like getting upset and stuff? What do you do? What are your coping mechanisms for when you're really frustrated, when you're really upset? I feel like a lot of people are bullied and rage, and they're alone. There's a loneliness epidemic among men, so to speak. From what I
Lately, my
hear.
coping mechanisms suck. I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you, because I have no outlet right now. Usually, like, I listen to music. I used to play drums. That was a good outlet for me. Working out, which I don't do much anymore. But those three things during my life have really helped me: music and physical activity, and just keeping yourself busy are the three most important things that have helped me deal with stress. Now, having a family, and I haven't made time. My job takes a lot for me, and I haven't had time to work out. It's something I really want to do again. It's just getting into the groove and finding the time. I'm almost at that cusp there where my kids are going to be like self-sufficient, and then I could start focusing on myself again. But anything that my thing was drums. Like, I loved playing the drums. So playing those drums, beating on drums would always help me get any frustrations out. And working out, I used to love working out. But you stray away from it now, right? It's a little tougher. I mean, I don't want to make excuses, but growing up, those were the things that helped me deal with the stress, right? But when you get older, it's a different stress, right? For kids, they have more outlets. They could escape in other ways. When you become an adult, it's a little harder to escape and do things. And like the way you said, like, you like to run. I like to run too, but I can't run anymore. My knees are messed up. Like, I can't run the same way I used to. You know what I mean? And I could probably build up to it, but it just takes that one time to get out there and start, and then you could like build on the momentum of that. I
Well,
just
what's
have
stopping you?
I'm lazy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It's all me. I don't want to blame anything. I'm not gonna say it's my kids. It's not my wife. It's me. It's me. It's totally me. I've gotten into a rut, and I've been thinking about it lately. I got to get myself out of it and start taking care of myself, right? Because you get older, and you gotta stay healthy. My wife told me a few days ago. Sorry, a couple months ago. She's like, "Go for a walk. Go for a walk." And I was like, "I don't want to." She goes, "Just get up and go for a walk." And this is the problem, right? See, this is me. I went for this walk. I felt great when I got back. I felt fantastic. I didn't go for a walk the next day. I should have. And I keep on thinking about it. I should go for these walks. You know what I mean? But I don't. And I don't know what it is. It's just I get home and I'm like, you know what? I want to sit down. It goes back to the phone thing, dude. I pick up my phone, 20 minutes is gone. You know what I mean? Just like that. That could have been the 20 minutes I was walking. So it's me. It's mentally. So, like, my advice to anybody is just, try to put the devices down. Because I find it now, too. It's getting to the point where, like, I try not to have it with me all the time. Even at work, I found myself, like, on my phone, and things wouldn't get done. So this past week, I haven't picked up my phone much at work. I put up a drape. I put the TVs up. Like, I was doing things. I wasn't putting, like, I was getting things done. So, there's a time, if you could try to limit yourself to how much you spend on it, it'll help. You know what I mean? And for me to say what's stopping me, it's me. I'm going to take full blame for it.
Yeah. No, like, what do they say in AA, right? The first step is admitting you have a problem, and kind of like it's on you, right?
Yeah,
So,
I have a problem. The problem is,
no, I'm not
I
saying
don't-
you're addicted.
No,
I'm
I
just
don't.
saying.
I don't get up and do it. Like, I could get up. Like, I could get up and wake up in the morning. I like working on the morning. I did it my whole life, and then I just stopped. I had kids, and I just stopped. I just stopped doing it because I was with them at night. because my wife was with them all day. So at night I would take over, and it was snowballed, and now it's just to get back into it. When the older you get, your body doesn't react the same way. You know what I mean? I can't do the same things I was doing 10 years ago with weight wise. Like I can't lift all this heavy weight and work out like that. But you got to find different ways to do it, and that's where I'm at now. I think I'm gonna start doing it again. I've been contemplating it in my head for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, over the winter, for next spring, I want to lose 20 pounds. And that's it. Because I weighed myself at my buddy's house, and I'm like, holy cow, I'm heavy. I'm heavy, man. I'm heavy.
Are we all?
No, you're not heavy. I'm heavy.
You want to guess?
I bet you won't even guess. I was going to go do the thing at the C&E where they guess your weight. Because the guy wouldn't have guessed me for sure.
Yeah?
How much do you think I weigh? I'll guess you after you guess me.
185.
No, I'm 197.
Oh, shit. I'm 185.
You're 195,
I'm
but you're
195.
muscle, dude.
And
You
I'm a little
work
taller
out.
than you. I'm a little taller than you.
Yeah,
so
but you're muscle.
fair
195 is good.
Fair
I'm
enough.
fat. Like I'm fat.
Well, we all have fat. but
I look
get
at
what you're saying.
in my mirror now. I'm like, I'm a pear. I'm a fucking pear.
No.
Oh yeah, dude. I gotta lose weight. My problem is snacking, man. I love food. I love food.
Yeah, you're Italian.
Well, it's that. And, working out when you're young,
Yeah.
you eat so much when you're young because you could eat, and you need the food to work out.
Yeah. High metabolism.
Yeah, and then now, I don't work out anymore, but I still have that. I still have
Habits.
that appetite. I want more food.
Yeah.
I want to fill up a bowl of pasta.
Yeah.
And I've done I've talked to like dietitians, and I've talked to personal trainers. They all say the same thing, man. You want to lose weight? Eat half of what you want to eat. That's all you need to do, because it's all caloric intake, right? That's all it is. It's your weight is caloric intake. So if you're eating a bowl of pasta, 2 pieces of chicken, and half a plate of broccoli, yeah, okay, eat the half a plate of broccoli, but take 1 piece of chicken, take a quarter of a plate of pasta, fill up on the broccoli, and eat like 2 plates of broccoli. You know what I mean? Or drink a big glass of water, and it helps. But you don't do it. Like I
Yeah, there's a lot of science to that, and there's a lot of special cases where your diet does affect because your genes and your ancestry and your DNA and such. So yes, some things will be better than others, but a lot of what I've read, I'm not an expert, but a lot of people have said like a majority of people are going to see a drastic change from their caloric intake.
Yeah.
and expenditure. So you don't need to lift weights or run; you could walk.
My doctor says the same thing to me every time I go see him. He's like, all you need to do is walk for 20 minutes a day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you burn X amount of calories.
And burn, and be more mindful of what you're eating.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's easy to stop at Burger King and get a Whopper. It's easy to stop at A&W and get a little Buddy Burger. And it's like easy. It's fast. You eat it, but it's junk, right?
And the calories are so dense. Like
Yeah.
there's 200 calories in something where if you had a whole apple, I think it's like 80.
80 calories. And you feel the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem, right? Yeah, but it's fast, right? Even me now, like since I've went to this new shop, I haven't had my fridge. I'm not bringing my lunch. I've been eating out every day, and it's junk, man. I don't feel good anymore. Like I'm serious. I don't feel good. Yeah. I'm like, but what am I gonna eat? Yeah. I'm hungry. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I got these guys coming into the shop, and they're fasting for like 16, 24. This one guy in my shop fasts for 48, 72 hours. Wow. How do you do it? I go, what do you eat? Water and coffee. I go, you fucking kidding me? You're going to die. How do you do it? 3 days on water.
Yeah. I've heard it's good for you fasting because it actually kills off a lot of older cells in your body.
Yeah.
So it gets rid of cancer cells and stuff that are weak because you're not fueling those cells. But how they do, I don't know. I've tried to fast. There's an app.
Me too.
It's a tough one. I can definitely survive on coffee and water in the mornings. I can do like a couple hours, but come around like 2 o'clock, I have to have
I did 16-hour fasts.
Oh.
I was up to 16 hours.
Good for you.
And it was good. It felt good, but it's unsustainable.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I like it. You could do it for 2 years. You could do it for 4 years. Some point, you're not going to fast, man. Like, how can you do that for the rest of your life? Like,
I heard scientifically, again, all this stuff is what I read and hear, but it's good to do it once a week. Like, you don't need to do it so every day. You could eat a normal caloric intake, whatever that is for that individual. And then one day where you just 24-hour fast. And he goes, it's the same health benefits as fasting for
I heard the same
whatever every
thing.
day.
Yeah, and I'm no expert either, but I heard the same thing. And I want to even, if I can get to that point, right?
Once a week where you're
Yeah.
steadfast on fasting. Yeah.
But I tried dieting before, and I died. I've dieted before.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Like eating cardboard chicken and rice and, you know what I mean, a vegetable with nothing on it. Yeah, it's okay if you want to lose the weight fast.
Sure.
But as
What
like,
happens when you break that? Yeah.
no, but like, man, don't you want to try fucking pizza one day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had
Don't you want a slice of pizza on Sunday?
Yeah.
Or don't you want like a French fry one day? No. Like,
Yeah.
I can't live like that. I'm not gonna enjoy life.
No, for sure. I mean, those absolutes are kind of dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? Like, life is so flexible. And I had another friend of mine who, her and her boyfriend were personal trainers. And they go, if a client of ours has to binge out on Saturdays, meaning they eat whatever they want, that's what we tell them to do. It's like, if you, Sal, mentally can diet during the week, but no, on Saturdays I can eat whatever the fuck I want, then they go, they do that. It doesn't matter because it's about habits, right? It's about a lifestyle. So yeah,
Exactly.
you're not, it's a birthday party. You're going to drink some Coke and eat a cake.
Yeah.
But
Even like meal planning, right? It's so
Yeah.
tough. It's so tough for me too, because I'm thinking about kids now. So if I can't make my kids plain fucking chicken breast, they're not gonna eat it. They're not gonna eat it. I can't give them broccoli with nothing on it. They're not gonna eat it. They're gonna tell me, no, Dad, I don't want that. And what am I gonna do? So now what am I making now? 2 separate meals? 3 separate meals? You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. So you try that. This is the problem, right? And then, you know, one day they want tacos. So you bring them to, you know, guac, and you eat tacos. But my main thing now is at work. Like, I gotta like start eating healthy, because it's so important. I've shied away from it, but I don't feel good anymore.
yeah, that goal of yours of getting better at eating healthy made me think of someone say, know what you're retiring to. And my mom's coming up to retire in a couple of years, and I'm a little worried about her because, for context, my grandma has dementia, and when she retired, she just didn't really do much. And so I'm curious, like, what do you, as a barber, do you have a plan of what you're going to retire to?
No,
And what
I'm
you're
not going to
do?
retire.
You're not going to retire ever?
No, I'll retire when I can't move my arms.
What's the...
I just don't want. I think, like, looking at my dad and seeing how he still works one day a week probably keeps him focused. I think that's important for anybody, especially when they get up in age, is to keep yourself busy and do something that you got to use your brain for. If you sit at home and do nothing and watch TV when you retire, that's when I think issues arise. If you get out and do stuff, or you travel and you get out and you use your brain a little bit, you'll never fall into that trap, because I think like any other muscle, the brain's a muscle too. And the less you use it, the weaker it gets, right? So thinking and like crossword puzzles, I won't retire. I don't want to retire. I don't think I have it in me to retire. Like, my wife wants to retire, and that's fine. I don't want to retire until, like, unless I win millions of dollars. Like, and then I'll retire. But even then, like, I've always said it, even if I won $10 million, I would still work. I want to be a barber still. I like it that much. You know what I mean? As a job, I wouldn't care too much about being a barber. It wouldn't be like, oh, okay, I'm going to work every day and make money. But I would still keep my barbershop and work 3 or 4 days. If it just paid the bills and I broke even, I'd be happy. And if it gave me gas money, like, you know what I mean? Who cares? Because it's such a great job to stay, like, focused and active every day. I'm always on my feet. I'm not sitting down. I'm not looking at a computer screen. I'm not just on the phone. I interact with so many different people every day, and it's never the same day. You know what I mean? Like, I never have the exact same day. It's always a different day. Every day is a new day. It's a different day. And that's what keeps it, like, you know, fresh.
Yeah, it's a barbershop, and I know you mentioned you worked on salons. I'm assuming it's different, and I'm going off this stereotypical of, like, they're gossiping as women together at the salon.
It's different, yeah.
Do your clients gossip and just talk with you? I know you and I do, but we're more checking in and how's life and world events.
We don't gossip as much as they do. When I work,
You find your clients are...
Yeah, no, we don't gossip. I mean, some people, like, I mean, I don't get into it. I don't want to talk. I don't like talking bad about anybody, especially at the barbershop. I do have my issues with people, but I try not to bring it in there. Sometimes if it's a personal person that I know, maybe I'll open up to them and tell them my issues. But It's not as gossipy as the salons. No, not
Yeah.
even close, man.
And
No.
do you have any famous clients that walk in that you are just super friendly with?
Famous ones?
You tell me whatever you feel comfortable saying, but
No, I've had a couple like not really famous, but
A-list,
people-
B-list, C-list, D-list.
Yeah, a couple. But one time I wasn't there. My dad shaved one of the Zico and Torres, I guess those they're DJs.
Oh, okay.
He shaved one of their faces because we knew somebody that knew them. But when I look back, geez, honestly, I'll tell you something. Even if they were famous, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known. I don't get that deep into them. Like I probably have done a couple people that were famous, but I didn't really care.
Yeah.
Like I never made a note of them being famous. I forget. I can't remember. I did one guy. I can't remember what he did, but he was. I forget what he was. He did something, and I didn't treat him any different.
That's
But
right.
I don't do any really famous people because I'm not really downtown. But I did a couple really interesting people that I've done once, and I'll never forget. And one guy was he's a graffiti artist in Toronto. I think his name was Moses, and he does wicked stuff. And I follow him on Instagram. And I don't know how he came to my barbershop, but he came once, and this guy was awesome. And I just gave him a haircut, and then I follow him on Instagram. There's all this cool art all over the city, and I'm like, wow. And he's not famous, but in my eyes, I'm like, this guy is famous. You know what I mean? Like to me, he's famous, but I haven't really done anybody really that I could say is. I'm trying to think if there was anybody that I've ever done that was famous, and I can't think.
Yeah, even like a local celebrity, If there is
Yeah.
anyone, I mean, you don't. There's no.
I don't even
pressure.
remember. No, I can't. I remember I must have done Rob Ford's hair a couple times, but I
He
don't
lives
even
close,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've met him a few times when he was alive, but I'm trying to think of whose hair I did that was famous.
It's funny you say that. I have a friend Scoot at Scoot Inc. in Toronto, and he tattoos like Travis Scott, Kevin Hart. He's really
Yes.
good friends with. He tattoos all these people, and we did a podcast episode years ago, before COVID, and I remember asking the same thing. I'm like, "Oh, any celebrities you geek out on?" Because like you have all these Raptors, Tyrone Edwards from Talk Canada, and Much Music VJ. All these people come into the shop, and they're usually just walk-ins or they know him or know of him. And he's like, "No, he's the same way." He's like, "I don't geek out about anyone. They're just a client to me." And
No, yeah, I'm the
they're
same.
friendly, obviously. But he said, I asked him who would he geek out on if he had to tattoo, and apparently it's Mark Wahlberg. That was his
no
celebrity.
way.
He's like, I'd probably geek out a little
Well,
bit about that guy. So
It's funny you say that. See now, like okay, since I went by appointment that I have like the person's name, I don't remember anybody. But back when I was at Edenbridge, you don't know. I wouldn't know who came in. You know what I mean?
True, yeah, you're right.
I wouldn't know if they were famous or not
oh, you're right.
because I would see sometimes people once. I wouldn't even know who they were. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because now you have the system.
Now I could
Yeah.
see who's booking and
Checking
stuff.
in and
Yeah,
stuff.
but
Wow.
I don't remember anybody really. No.
Any weirdos come in?
Oh, weirdos! Lots of weirdos, dude.
You gotta tell me at least one story of some weirdo in cutting hair.
We had this one guy that wanted us to shave his armpits. Like he asked us to shave his armpits. Can you shave my armpits after? And I'm like, no, we don't do that.
What was the reason? He
wanted
cut
us
his
to
hair,
shave.
and
He
then
cut his hair, and he wanted us to shave his armpits.
and he wasn't joking.
No, I was like, yeah, no. Can you do them for me? I'm like, no, man. We don't shave your arm.
Was he gonna pay you for extra? You should have charged him.
Yeah. He wanted to pay me extra. But I'm not gonna use that clipper
No,
on
of
him.
course
No
not.
way.
You need a lot of barber side to get rid of
Oh,
that.
geez, that'd be disgusting. I don't even want to even go there.
Yeah.
But we've had some. We had one guy that came in with dreads,
Okay.
but I think there was something wrong with him. But he was a weirdo too, man. Not something wrong with him mentally. Just I think he was on drugs and he never combed his hair or anything. He had all these dreads and he was asking me to cut it. This was a long time ago, man. And I told him, I said, I can't cut it. I can't undread your hair, dude. It's dreaded.
Oh, he wanted it to be undread.
He wanted me to like undread his hair. He wasn't a Rasta or anything.
Sure.
He just never combed his hair.
Okay. So shoot.
Yeah,
So just knotted. Like,
Knotted, but I mean like dreads.
yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like, I gotta shave your head.
Yeah.
And so I shaved his head.
Can you undo dreads? I don't think I've ever. I
No,
guess.
no,
Oh
no,
no,
no.
not
Dreads is
technically.
pretty much like just knotted nappy hair that
Yeah,
hasn't been combed or
yeah, yeah,
washed
yeah.
or anything, right? Like it's
Wow.
just dirty. It's dirty. It's like nothing against Rosses. It's just dirty
Sure,
hair.
sure.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
They usually like wash their scalp, but the
yeah.
hair itself is just dreaded, right?
Oh.
Usually it's done better like where you back comb it now.
Sure, sure.
But I
Yeah,
guess back in the day they became dreads because
yeah. 'Cause you weren't taking care of it or whatever
yeah, they
stuff.
just became dreads. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So so that's your horror story. Is
I'm
the
sure
only
I'm
thing else?
missing a couple, man. Like I've made some mistakes on people's hair that were horror stories.
Yeah. How do you deal with that when customers come back and say,
I
"Hey,
just be honest. I'm always honest. I don't care. Well, if it's done, like I can't undo it. So what's the point of trying to hide it? If I screw somebody's hair up, I tell them, dude, I screwed up.
do you find that there's a lot of backlash for that, or is it there's pride, there's like respect and honesty in
I don't
owning
do
up
it
to
much anymore. It's having. Now watch me do it next week, right? For sure.
Knock on wood.
But it used to happen a lot when I used to change the clip. So if I didn't change it, or if I put a shorter clip on, and then I didn't remember that I didn't put, and I went back to do your hair, and it doesn't happen as much now because it used to happen because I was rushing because I had other people waiting. Now that that's not an issue, I don't rush that much. I could double check. I'm not like trying to run fast. But yeah, I've had people just the other week. A good customer of mine texted me saying, "You got horror guys that like the worst people are the people with no hair."
Mhm.
I hate to say this. Bald people that have little hair, they're the pickiest people. People with lots of hair, they don't care because it grows back. And I guess that's what it is, right? But I had this guy come in, good customer of mine, called me the next day, told me that I rushed him and his sides were uneven. And I told him, hey, I didn't rush. I'm sorry you feel that way. Come by and I'll fix it. No problem. But don't tell me I rushed. I didn't rush. It's just okay. Maybe I made a mistake. We all have bad days, right? I'm not perfect every day. I hope I am, but you can't be perfect every day. But yeah, you know what? Horror stories. Like, we deal with mostly good people, but once in a while you get guys that are a little picky. You know what I mean? They're perfectionists and but they don't want to pay. You know what I mean? They don't want to pay $100 for you to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on their hair, but they want you to spend 2 hours on the hair and give you $25. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of people. But you try to just do your best on everybody and be the best barber you can. The old man that used to work with us, he never turned away anybody, even if they wanted to give him $15. He would do their hair. He wouldn't care. He'd give him a $15 haircut though.
What do you mean?
Oh, the people would be out of there in 10 minutes. He'd just zip, 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 zip out. Okay, yeah, pay me. But he never said no. You know what I mean? And that's because I guess the way he looked at it was that money's better in his pocket than anybody else's.
Mm,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Yeah. So $15 is $15.
Yeah. Whether it's 15 more
More
bucks
bucks
he
than he
never
would have
had.
had. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, but that's the old school mentality, right? He never turned anybody away. I used to like. I'm more my worth, right?
Mm.
Because once you do it for that price, then you always got to do it for that price. Because they're going to come back and say, "Well, last time was 15, so what's it going to be now?" So
Yeah, how do you like? You're such a friendly guy. You know, I've known you for years, and you know, I've always paid respectfully because I appreciate you and your work and skill. But do you find like I know this because I remember being a kid and going as a teenager to your shop, maybe back when he was at Scarlet Eglinton, and guys coming in, joking with you, and then just picking up a mop and start sweeping. And I'm like, oh, they're buddies. Like this is someone you know, family friend or family, or just someone who's been you're cutting your hair. Does it ever get weird where people were like, I know you, Sal, like, give me a discount or can I get a free haircut? And what do you do to alleviate that or to solve that or stop that?
well,
Because that must be, you know, I dated a girl during COVID. I remember not going to you during COVID, and I dated a girl, and her mom was a hairstylist at a salon, and she cuts her husband and her son's hair, and my hair was becoming a bush, and she was like, "Oh, I'll cut your hair," and so she started cutting my hair, and then after a while, she's like, I don't want to cut your hair anymore," basically, and the relationship didn't work out. So maybe there's a sign there, but you know, but I'm sure you have people in situations where you're kind of like, "Hey, buddy, I'm gonna have to charge you regardless of you being friends or not."
oh yeah. Well, I've
Like,
never really given people something for free. So you get into the issues where people don't want to pay. I mean, if they have issues where they can't pay, I'm more than happy to help somebody. But when that issue arises, if they don't want to pay after it's done, that'd be the last time they'll do that. Because the next time they come in, I'll say, "You're going to pay this time, right?" I'll remember. But to be honest with you, it happened in the beginning. We had a guy at Edenbridge that would take off. He would come in and then say he's going to the bank. Young guy. Just come in and he'd say, "I'm going to the bank." Then he wouldn't show up for 2 or 3. He thought we were stupid. We knew it was him. So like once, twice, the third time he came in, my dad said, "Listen, you want a haircut? Yeah. Put the money on the counter. And when you're done, I'll take the money. If you have to go get the money, go get it now and put it on the counter." He went to go get it and put it on the counter. He never did it again. So it happens, right? I mean, I can't remember it happening many times lately, but I can remember back in Edenbridge it happening because we were in that small corner where you could walk around, and if you walked like around that corner and we were busy, we didn't know where you went. You know what I mean? We wouldn't know where you went. But now with e-transfer, we take e-transfer. And we don't take debit card, but with debit card and stuff, it's easier. You do e-transfer, they do it right there, you get paid, it's done. You know what I mean? Like it's a non-issue. And most of our customers in the neighborhood we're in are pretty good people. They're not there to screw us. I'm sure if I was in a less affluent neighborhood, it would be an issue. You know what I mean? But a lot of people now, I've been reading, especially barbers, they want the money first.
Mm. Why is that?
You pay first with a card or whatever, you tap, and because they don't want you screwing them, right? Because then if you say, "I'm not happy with the haircut, I don't want to pay." I mean, if that ever happened to me, I would say don't pay. I'm not the type of guy. If you're not happy, don't pay. No problem. But don't come back and tell me you're not happy again. You know what I mean? If you're not going to come back, if I screwed up and you don't like it, man, if I screw up somebody's hair, I take total blame for it. And I will totally give you the haircut for free. I don't care. The money is not an issue. I'm more concerned of you being happy. But if you come back after and then you do the same thing, then I get upset. You know what I mean? That would piss me off. That would really like get me going. But it hasn't happened. Like I hate to say this, but we have such nice customers. Not that I hate to say it, but
no, I get what you're saying.
Like I'm trying to think of times where I've been really pissed off about the money. Not about issues with people. I'm talking about like money wise. And I can't really think of times where I was like being left like holding the bag and saying fuck, or somebody got really pissed off at me and said, "I fucking hate this haircut. Oh my God, you ruined my hair." Like I can't think of times that's happened. If it did happen and I'm blocking it out of my memory, then I'm blocking it. But I can't really remember it. I remember one guy, and I think if you read my reviews, you must have seen the bad ones, because there's two or three bad ones. One I took total blame for, and I totally, and the other one, like when I get a bad one, I don't want
months ago,
yeah,
or months later or something,
yeah, and I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Like I don't mind fixing it for you, but why would you do this? Like you haven't been to my shop, you know what I'm saying? And maybe they went to my dad or something, and my dad maybe didn't give him the best haircut, but dude, that's on you. Like, you're going to an 80-year-old man. What kind of haircut are you expecting? Like, you know, he knows how to give you, and I'm sure the haircut was good, because my dad cuts hair well, but it's maybe not the fade or the way my dad, like, the way the young kids like the hair, but he doesn't know how to do it, right?
No shame or blame or anything. I've been going to you guys for years. I don't think I've ever gotten your dad to cut my hair. And that's not because I don't think he's a good hairstylist, but I'm a young kid and I want the fade and I want the zigzags and nothing against him. So why would you assume
that he could do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, if that was the case.
I used to get a little upset too in the beginning when my dad wouldn't take people. And then I started realizing, I'm like, okay, he doesn't want to do them because he doesn't know how they like their hair. He knows we're young. You know what I mean? He's done. Like he does his guys that he's done for whatever years, and they're happy. He doesn't want new customers. He doesn't need new customers. He doesn't come to work because he needs the money. He comes to do something. You know what I mean? And you can take all the money that he makes. I don't care. He doesn't even take the money, my dad. I gotta force him. Like I gotta leave money at his house. Like I leave it for him in spots.
Yeah.
I'll put it on his nightstand. I'll put it on his dresser. And I'll walk out the door because he won't take it from me. Yeah. He'll give it back to me. Like, no, I don't want it. Yeah. Which is nice, right?
I mean, of course.
I'd probably do the same thing for my kids, right? But I understand why he doesn't want to do it, man. But
Yeah.
when I look back at the times, I haven't seen too many people come in and complain about the hair to the point that it was an argument in my life. You know what I mean? Most of the time you could fix the stuff. And that's what I mean by with women, when I was working at the salon, every couple weeks, man, there was a girl losing her mind. Yeah, oh yeah. Like I could tell you horror stories about the salon. Like my barbershop, no, but when I worked at the salon, I'll tell you a story. We had this one woman that came in. She was just had like nice hair, and the hairdresser I worked with is a very natural, talented hairdresser, kind of like my brother. Same kind of story, man. Dude, this guy was just amazing with hair. So he spends 2 hours on this lady. She leaves. She looks like $1,000,000. I'm like, wow. About 3 hours later, she comes back. Her hair's a mess, and she goes, "Why does my hair look like this?" And we're looking at it going, "Holy shit, you didn't leave like that. Like, what the fuck happened?" So we said, like, "Did you go wash your hair?" She's like, "Yeah, but when I dried, it didn't dry the way you did it." And my boss looked at her, and we're all looking at her. We're like, are you stupid? You think that the way I cut it is gonna just fall like that with nothing? Like I just blow dried your hair for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to like do something to it. And anyways, that was a big horror story because she was pissed, man. And this was before Google and stuff. So she could have, but I guarantee you she would have left a bad review. And there was even another time with like the transformation of people when you see them being transformed. It's a little bit off topic, but it got me thinking about another like story about cutting hair when I was in hairdressing school. I was working part-time at the salon. And same salon with the guy that was natural talent. And the teacher said they always liked when people came in to show the kids haircuts, the students. We're not kids. We were all adults at that time. So I said to my boss at the time, I said, "Hey, man, why don't you come to the school on Monday? I go, do a couple haircuts, man. You know, it's cool." He's like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that. He was very energetic, like, you know, smoked a ton of weed. But that's besides the point. And he came in, and I'll never forget. And this is like the power of making somebody feel good after a haircut. There was this girl that was there. She was like such a plain Jane girl, like just plain straight blonde hair. You know what I mean? My boss came in, colored her hair, and cut it. Like within like 40 minutes, cut it, and then he would give it to a student, say blow dry it. And the change in her attitude and her what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Confidence. Her confidence was boosted so much by this haircut. And I'm looking at this girl, and from being a plain Jane girl, she looked beautiful just with hair done. I was like, wow, look at the power of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So most times I take that in consideration of cutting somebody's hair, and I don't want to do a bad job. And you might not I'm not the best barber for everybody, but for the people I do and that come back, I'm a good barber for
No,
them,
you're
right?
great. That's the reason I go to you guys. I remember you guys moving to Woodbridge, and I was in high school, so I didn't have a car at that time. And I was dating a girl down at Dufferin and Bloor, and there was Underground or Underworld or something. Nice shop, nice people. But I had to go there because it was across the street. So I'd go after school to my girlfriend's house, and I'd walk in, and you could write it on a whiteboard and just go back and kind of back and forth. And I remember coming back, and I went straight to you. I told you, I'm like, I'm glad you guys are back because
Yeah.
I missed you guys. Like,
Yeah, I know. We got that a lot when we came back, and I liked it up there too. But coming back was the best thing I could have done because
what I wanted to say was, sorry to cut you off, but I wanted to say was like, I appreciate you because you and Claudio both were honest people. You know, I remember I wanted these hairstyles. I wanted the faux hawk like Ronaldo. I wanted the buzz cut. I want all this stuff. And I remember saying like, well, is it like, I'm not sure. You could tell, I guess, as a teenager, you know, you're unsure of your style as you fall into it. And you had said like, no, your face is like this, or I think your hair is like this. It's going to work well with this. And, you know, I think it's great. You really need that. And something my aunt had said was the VP of Canada Goose told her, and he was like, Paula, every man needs a good lawyer, a good accountant, and a good barber. He's a Scottish dude. And my aunt, I don't know why he's telling my aunt this, but as every man, and it was so funny. And my aunt laughed and told me in this place the same thing. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I have the good
That's
barber.
right, yeah.
Because there's times where semi-formal in the 10th grade or 11th grade, I remember Claudio gave me this haircut, and it took forever. It took for fucking ever, Sal. I
I can
remember.
imagine.
I
Yeah.
think you were like, we're closing up shop, Claudio. Like, we gotta fucking go. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm giving this. I'll never remember. I'll never forget this. The Spartacus. He's like, I saw this movie Spartacus or Romans, like this Roman haircut, and I don't know what he was doing at that point, but he was just cutting my hair, and he was going in, and everyone at Semi Forum was talking about my hair. They were like, oh, it's so cool. Look at that, the guys. And I was like, wow, holy shit, this is a good haircut. And
It took forever, but it
it
was
took
good.
forever. It was worth it, but it's so funny that that it does make a difference. It does when you care, when you're good. It makes a difference. It makes you feel really good about yourself. And I respect you and Claudio for also saying. I think it was you who said this, but Claudio echoed it in the same session of cutting my hair. Was how much effort you're going to put in the morning. I think it was in high school. I was like, oh, I want to wake up and just do one thing. And I think you was like, okay, we're going to cut it this way. And you're going to thin it out, I think. And you're going to put this pomade or gel or something in it because the way you style it, I know Claudio always says like, oh, it trips me out how you style your hair or how you comb your hair. But this is what we're going to do. And it just, those little things make a big difference. And I think it's something people appreciate and why you're probably ranked so well and everyone leaves these great reviews for you except those two losers. No offense to those guys, but
No, one of them's not a loser. It's my fault.
no, I know
The other guy was a loser.
I'm biased.
Yeah,
Obviously.
I know. I'm joking.
But you guys are great, and it does make a difference. You know, like hair is crazy. Is that why you are are you cutting hair still to this day, and why you wanted to really stick with it? Because it must have been hard at times.
Yeah, no, I like it because it's just it's like I said, man. It's different. Every haircut's different. Every person's different. The relationships I make me want to go to work. I don't wake up in the morning and not want to go to work. Never. And maybe it's because I own my own business. Maybe that's a big part of it. I don't know if I could work for somebody else, but uh, yeah, I just love working there. I just love it. I wake up and I don't know how people say they don't want to go to work. Like nobody should. Nobody should work for a living. It should be something you enjoy doing. It shouldn't feel like work. So if it feels like work and you wake up and you don't want to do it, then maybe find a different career because you should have fun at work. And that also applies to the person too. You got to be that kind of an individual that I'm a positive person. I'm not like a negative person. I'm not a pessimistic person. I'm optimistic. I wake up in the morning, I'm happy in the morning and I want to get to work in the morning. And the thing is when I'm at work, it's an escape. Like I'm just thinking about this person comes in and I talk to him and I do his hair. Then the next guy comes in, I talk to him and it's a different conversation and I'm thinking about something different. And it gets my mind off anything. So going back to your previous question, where you asked me how do I cope with anger, a lot of it has to do with work because it takes my mind off of everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm focused on you. When you come in, I'm focused on you. I want to do your hair. You know what I mean? And if I do have any kind of anger built up, I can let it out with you. I could say, especially if we have a relationship, I could say, hey, Pav, this is how I feel. Oh, this is bothering me today. This happened today. This happened yesterday. And I get it out.
It's like mini therapy sessions.
Exactly. And I don't even have to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. They pay you.
They pay
me. What advice would you give to someone who's, if they are pessimistic? Like I'm sure you have moments where you're down.
Yeah.
Right. What do you do to get out of it? Outside of work, is there something that you do? Some advice? I struggle sometimes, where I find like I'm joking with people. I'm like, I feel like manic. Some days I'm super high, and some days I'm super low. And I find walking is my thing. I find relaxing, playing some video games, or listening to music. Just sitting here on the couch kind of helps me get out of that rut.
Yeah. If you're feeling down and you want to try to get out of it, just like. You got to do something you enjoy. I mean, it's kind of a plain answer, but I mean, the worst thing you could do is turn to vices to try to get you out of it. So, doing something physical or doing something you love or anything to get your mind off of it. Being sad and lonely is probably the scariest thing for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be sad. I don't want to be lonely. So I try not to be sad. I try not to be lonely.
Do you ever get lonely?
Yeah, I get lonely sometimes like when I'm by myself at work. Sometimes, like if my brother's not there, I feel alone. But the saddest thing for me is like thinking about. I try not to think about life too much. I just try to live it. I don't think about it
in the moment.
Yeah, because we're only here for a short period of time. So we're all going to end up in the same spot. You know what I mean? So I try not to think too negatively and try to make the best out of every day. Have I made all the proper decisions? No, but you can't make to anybody feeling down. Don't beat yourself up. Anybody can do anything they want in this world. You just got to apply yourself. And that's what I try to tell my kids too. You could be the best. I could be the best drummer if I really want to. I just got to practice every day. I could be the best, you know, barber in the world. If I really wanted to, I could be the best. I would have to do it every day and devote. Anybody can do it. You got to devote your time. It's not going to happen naturally. But I don't really. I don't know. I don't. I think it has a lot to do with my upbringing. I was in a happy home growing up, and that helped me a lot to be happy every day. Like it helped me. It allowed me to be happy every day. My parents didn't argue much. They were very loving towards each other, and I try to do the same. I try to be the same kind of person, happy and loving, right? There's issues, there's problems, but stressing about this problem ain't gonna make it go away. It's gonna be there tomorrow. So if there's something you could do to fix it, do it. But and the other side of that is there's people with real mental problems that make them sad, and that's sad in itself because I've never experienced that. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do if you have an issue and you could fix it, then you fix it. If you can't, you can't. Then that's it. The one thing I try not to do is I try not to substitute, drugs and alcohol to make me feel better because I don't want to go down that road. I enjoy a drink. I love drinking. I love getting drunk with my friends, but it's a fun thing. I'm not a miserable drunk. I'm a happy drunk. You know what I mean? Like I'm not drinking to drown my sorrows away. But it's tough because get help, man. Just go get help because there's people that'll listen to you. Anybody will listen to you. There's always ears out there. You just got to find them. Like I like to be there for people if I can.
Yeah, I think that's what I do sometimes. I find is that when I'm lonely or sad, I kind of go to my family and I have two women at home, my sister and my mom, and love them, but they always have something to talk about, and so I try and make them dance, and I try and dance to make them laugh, like the whole dance to make them laugh and to bring a smile to them, and that I find lifts me up in turn. I'm a big joker. I'm sounds like you are at home too, as being the fun dad. So I always make jokes and tease my mom. I'm like, well, you could just punch her in the face. And she's like, why? And so out of left field that she's like, why would I punch my principal in the face? That makes no sense at all. I'm like, but she laughs and, it's always a good time. So I find that helps me. I find myself still young, but struggling sometimes with regret. And I feel like I'm too young to regret. But do you ever regret anything in your life? And what do you...
Yeah, there's a couple things I regret. And not because I don't want to be a barber, but a long time ago I had a job at American Express, and I worked there for 3 months, and I started at the bottom, and I got the job from like a what's it called, agency. Got me a job at American Express, so I go work at American Express, and I'm a call center person. And they love me because I don't want to make it seem like I was some genius, but I was really with a bunch of people from an agency. And here I am, like I got full college education and I'm okay.
You're a smart guy, funny.
So I'm there. They're showing me all these computer screens. I'm like flying through everything. They're like, oh, this guy, we want him. She gave me any shift I wanted. So I picked this amazing shift. I worked there for 3 months. She said, you gotta work at your position for a year, and then you could move up. You could move wherever you want, but you have to stay in each position for a year. I worked call center for 3 days, and I quit. And I keep on thinking, and at that time, I was young. I was maybe 22, 23 years old. If I would have just stayed with American Express, who knows where I'd have been right now. Okay, because that was my in. You know what I mean? And I just couldn't get past that call center crap. Because you just deal with idiots all day. Like I couldn't do that kind of work. You know what I mean? It was beneath me, and I don't want to sound like it's beneath, but I couldn't do it. Like I didn't want to talk to people all day.
Why did you quit? Why didn't you stick through it? Because I feel like you, as I know you, I feel like you would have been the fighter. And I feel like Claudio would have been like, screw this. I'm gonna go cut hair because that's what I really wanted. He would have been dead fast on that. I feel like you would have been like, fuck, I'm sticking to this because of the opportunities, because of all this, and I know, and you know in yourself, you could be executive one day of American Express. Why?
I'll tell you why. I have a good answer for that. I had a job at Air Transat at that time, same time. So when I went to American Express, I took a leave of absence, and I went to my boss at Air Transat. I said, I need a leave of absence 3 months. He was cool. He's like, yeah, go ahead. And I was so comfortable at Air Transat. It was such an easy job that I'm like, okay, I'd rather do the easy job and maybe move up at Air Transat rather than go work like a dog in this huge company. You know what I mean? That was but in the end, it bit me in the ass because they ended up laying us all off. So where I had probably stability at American Express, you know what I mean? But they might have restructured too. You never know what could have happened there. But my opportunity there was really good. And it was like American Express was a great company to work for. That's the only thing I regret because the facility was amazing. The people, they had a gym, they had childcare, they had like a huge cafeteria. It was like a really cool place to work at. You know what I mean? Like I would go downstairs to the gym and say, like, we could use anything here. She's like, yeah, this. Once you're done your 3-month probation, this is everything here is yours. We'll hire you. And she came to me, the leader that was teaching us all this stuff came to me and said to me, you got a job. You don't have to worry. She goes, I'll get you in. Because I was flying through, like it was all about learning what screen to go to and what information to put on. And it was fucking basic crap. Like anybody could do it. But she knew that like I could, she's like, you're good. You're going to be fine. But I couldn't get over talking to people on the phone. It was like, it was so stupid sometimes.
It's probably why they lock you in for a year.
Yeah. Yeah. You need me in that
at least a year.
It was so dumb. People would call, they'd have like bills that are like 20 G's. And they're like, why doesn't my card work? And I'm like, it doesn't work because you haven't paid it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Well, I need it to work. I'm at the store. Like, no, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Because you haven't paid it. Because the way American Express works is like, there's no limit.
It's a charge card, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to pay it off every month.
Yeah. So otherwise, your limit goes down and you don't get one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a very, very, very strange. That's. But the only reason why I didn't stay was because of that Air Transat job. It was easy. It was so easy, Air Transat. I did nothing there.
Do you think you should have stayed with the harder task?
I probably would have been pretty good right now. I think I would have stuck with it.
Or you would have at least learned, because do you take away anything from Air Transat?
Yeah, I know exactly how the airport works.
Sure.
Like I know that stuff. But
sure.
My boss at Air Transat was really nice. So I took away from him he was a really nice guy, really smart, very accommodating. That's the kind of boss I would like to be.
Yeah.
Very easygoing. He just didn't want me to lie to him.
I mean, I feel like I manage a team in my job of a few people, and that's the biggest thing to me is trust and lie. Like,
yeah, he would tell me, don't tell me where you're going.
Yeah,
you want to take off for an extra hour at lunch? Just tell me.
Yeah,
at least I know.
Yeah, he
said I could cover your ass if I know. I can't cover your ass if I don't know. And that's why he was paying me still when I went to American Express. I put in my leave of absence. He didn't say nothing to anybody because he knew. So because I didn't lie, he could cover for me. He could say whatever he wanted to say and hook me up. And so they were still paying me on my leave of absence. Wow. He gave me a paid leave because I was honest with them. You know what I mean? And I took away that, like, when you're honest with people, it goes a long way. And it's just in life, just be honest. If you screw up, own up to it. Nobody's going to hate you for owning up to it. If you can't undo what you did, then you just say, yeah, man, I messed up. This is what I did. And get past it. Once you admit something, it's in the past after. You don't have to worry about it no more because nobody can come back to you and say, well, what did you lied then? No, they can't say that. You didn't lie. You know what I mean? So that's a big life lesson for any young kids listening out there that don't lie.
Yeah, because it's a demon on your back, right?
That's right, yeah. If you don't lie, man, people can't say anything about you.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny you say that you took the easy route because I feel like a lot of people would say, let's take the easy route because you need to, let's say, or it's better, or it's less stress for you. But sometimes that stress, like working out, is kind of what you need.
I was young, foolish. I chalk it up to being young.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking with my head. I was thinking, I gotta drive all the way here every day. Like things that were going through my head weren't the right things. It was like, I gotta drive all the way to Markham every day, and I was living in I was living in Bolton. I'm like, I gotta drive to Markham every day. Like I'm like, I don't want to drive to Markham every day.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I should have drove to Markham every day. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking, hey, it would have been okay. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't have cared. But you're right, man. I totally agree. Sometimes you gotta do the hard things.
Yeah. Do you you don't lose sleep over it, even though you regret it? Is there anything you do to tell yourself and you're happy in the trade off where you are now?
No, I don't dwell on it. You can't. You can't dwell on it, man. It'll drive you crazy. That's how you become crazy. Seriously.
Fair enough.
If you dwell on that kind of stuff, it's in the past. I can't change it, right? So I just got to move forward now, and that's how I live my life. You know what I mean? If it's done, I can't undo it. I can't go back in time and say, okay, I'm going to take the job. So it's done. It's a mistake. It wasn't even a mistake. I'm happy where I am now. It's just at the time, it probably would have been the best thing for me. But I was looking for the more comfortable. My other job was close to home. It was a pretty good company. It was on the rise, and it was an easy job. Like it was a no-brainer job. Like it was just go in, build flights, go home. You know what I mean? So out of an 8-hour shift, I was lucky if I worked 4 hours and I was getting paid for 8 hours. At American Express, dude, I was there for 10 hours a day, but I had to be on the phone for 10 hours, like answering calls all flipping day. I'm like, do I really want to do this all day? True. But when I look back now, a year back then seemed like so long. Then I look back now in a year, it's not that long. You know what I mean?
That's so crazy to me. So as I get older, I realize that.
Yeah,
I think like,
so long,
shit, this is gonna be forever. And then looking back, college was gone 4 years.
Yeah.
I kind of miss it still of like, I remember those days.
That's what I tell my kids all the time is they don't want to go to school. I go, you don't believe me. I go, but when you get older, you're going to wish you were in school.
Yeah.
I always tell them, if somebody would pay me to stay in school, I'd stay in school for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just, to learn is the best thing.
Yeah. Well, you touched on what a man is, right? And, my dad was Slavic, sausage fingered man. He was in the army. He drank vodka. You could say a definition of a man, right?
Yeah.
Of a traditional culturally relevant man. What do you think the definition of a man is?
That's a really good question. I don't know. A man, a man is somebody that could stand on their own 2 feet and go through life. You know what I mean? That to me is a man. You don't need anybody. If you could stand on your own 2 feet and you don't need anybody beside you, I mean, you don't have to belong to any group, but you could still belong if you'd like. I'm not saying, but that's what my definition of a man is. I'll tell you a little tidbit. I had a cousin, passed away now, and at one point, somebody was asking me to join some sort of group when in my 20s. Oh, come meet us at this place. We're going to join this group, and you're going to meet these people. And I was like, what is this? And I went to go talk to my cousin to see what he would think about it. And I just asked him, because he was older than me, I said, what do you think, these guys? He's like, Sal, you don't need anybody. You don't need to belong to any group. Just be yourself. Be on your own. And you know what? I went to this place, and there were some pretty, important people there. And they were asking everybody, me and a bunch of friends, do you want to join this group? And I came straight out and said, no, I don't want to join this group. They all shook my hand and said, it was nice meeting you. And I left. And that was probably the most defining moment of me being my own person and me being a man of my life. Because I didn't need to belong to anybody. You know what I mean? I just needed myself. I don't need to belong to this group to feel more important. I don't need to belong to that group to think that I can hang out with them. I still hung out with all these guys that joined this group, but I wasn't in the group. Didn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? And to me, that's a big step in the right direction of being a man, not following, being a leader, and being on your own. You can have friends and stuff, but at the end of the day, man, when you get married and you have a family and you're gonna die alone. You know what I mean? You're gonna be by yourself, man. You know what I mean? Your friends are cool. It's cool to have friends. You need friends, but you need family more. You need, stability more. And if you could be on your own and be happy, that's the best happiness in the world. So for me, a man is somebody who could be happy on their own, but doesn't need anybody.
I think that's a great way to end it on a good note. Thank you for that, and thank you for coming on the show.
Oh,
And
no, my pleasure.
I really appreciate all the advice and words of wisdom.
Oh, thanks, Pat.
Awesome. All right,
Thanks,
thanks, Sal.